insurance because that's what I was doing, if I hadn't made it. So I had all the things that people normally have and that we normally are trying to plan for and take care of ahead of time. But the one thing I didn't have was anything to take care of the legal expenses, my legal bills. And I can tell you, Mike, I was just not prepared. I wasn't prepared financially. I wasn't prepared emotionally. I didn't even really know a lawyer. I'm like most people in America are today. They don't really know lawyers. They're intimidated by lawyers, and they're concerned about what it might cost when I go to talk to a lawyer.
So you weren't even at fault in the accident, and still you got sued, and still you had all these expenses?
That's absolutely correct, Mike. I wasn't at fault. They gave the ticket to the other person, but I wound up getting sued. But those type things happen. They happen in America today. They happen every day. People aren't expecting those things. And as I began to look at it, I realized that the old 80-20 rule really came into play here, and that's that only about 20% of the people in the United States actually had access to a lawyer. What we do for people is not just those real serious, catastrophic type things. We're also talking about just everyday legal events. The things that, if you have children, then there's going to be some legal issues.
What kind of things, if I had a prepaid legal service policy, what kind of things would it cover?
Well, the first thing is the preventive law aspect of it, Mike, and that gives you the ability to pick up the telephone, call a lawyer, call a law firm, and we're talking about top quality lawyers, top quality law firms, and talk to them about anything of a legal nature. It doesn't matter what it is. Right now we're going through this subprime lending thing, and a lot of people are having problems out there right now with their mortgages. So if you had a prepaid membership and you're concerned about your mortgage, you're concerned about whether you're going to have a foreclosure, pick up the phone, call the lawyer, get some legal advice, get some legal help on that. Let's just say that you get a traffic ticket. Now, we can't fix tickets, and we don't fix tickets, but again, if you call the lawyer, they're going to give you some help on that, and many times they'll be able to keep those points off of your record, etc. We all enter into contracts. We enter into them all the time, and again, that's what has gotten some people in trouble right now with this mortgage industry thing.
You think it's the fact that all these legal documents, if you ever closed a house, you go in there and what you want to do is sign and get the keys to your new house. Do you think people really read all that stuff before they...
I know they don't, Mike. None of us do. It's like insurance policies that we have. We get them, but we don't read them. We put them away. We put them somewhere, and we hope it's going to take care of us. And then when something happens, then we want to go to a lawyer and get them to read it for us. But what we need to do is to do it at the time or before we enter into that contract, and that's what prepaid does. It gives people the ability to pick up the phone, call that lawyer, fax that over to them. You don't even have to go. You don't even have to drive over to their office. That's the nice thing about it. It's so convenient. You just fax it over, let them take a look at it for you, and tell you what it really covers and what it really doesn't cover.
How about getting a will drawn up? Is this something that prepaid legal lawyers could do under this membership, a will?
It is, Mike, and there's no cost to do it other than the cost of your membership. And what we find is that 70 to 80% of the people, Mike, that we talk about, don't have something as simple and important as a will. We just put off doing it. We're concerned about, what lawyer should I go to? What lawyer does wills? Because, not all lawyers do wills. Well, as a prepaid member, you have access to the law firm, and you're going to be talking to lawyers that do estate planning, and they're going to do your will for you. We're not talking about a fill-in-the-blank will. We're talking about a complete will for yourself and your family, and there's no cost. In addition to that, you're going to get a power of attorney. You're going to get a health care directive done. You're going to get the living will. All of those things are covered under your membership. And, Mike, they can be updated every year at no cost.
Prepaid Legal Chief Operating Officer Randy Harp sat down with us to discuss how history and financial stability factor into services provided by his company.
We've enjoyed 35 years. Can't tell you that we've grown every year, but in the last 13 years, since 1993, we've grown the membership base, our membership revenues, and so Excited to be a New York Stock Exchange listed company. We've been on the NYSE since '99, on the American Stock Exchange before that. We have a proven business model that allows us to grow the company, continue to sell a life events legal plan, but also produce free cash flow.
The Chief Marketing Officer of Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated is Mark Brown. We had a chance to meet with Mark, and he shared with us what Prepaid Legal has done to strengthen the company and ensure its future viability.
We have, over the years, just tens of thousands of letters, success stories, testimonials, how the membership that these folks have from our company has changed their lives, sometimes at the most critical juncture in somebody's life, how it's just made their life better. And our founder's a real visionary. He doesn't just leave it up to chance. We want to make sure the member gets the best service humanly possible. What he did a few years ago was go out and secure an advisory council. Because we live in the world's most complicated society, things change every day. More laws are passed, social things change. We don't want to leave it up to chance what our service does. So he went out as just an added security, really, and secured what we call our advisory council, which is made up of some of the best legal minds in the country, former attorneys general, lawyers from the business community, highly respected lawyers, to look at what we do going forward, the trends, how things affect our members, and run these things past these great legal minds, because the bottom line is getting the best service for the membership, and that's what we believe this advisory council does.
We have to be always vigilant and always on guard to continue to upgrade the quality of service that the provider firms are supplying. I think that is a never-ending effort.
I think a lot of people, when they hear about prepaid legal, they think maybe it's too good to be true. They read articles in the Wall Street Journal saying lawyers are now charging $1,000 an hour, and they have a hard time believing that for not very much money a month they can have access to really good lawyers. Doesn't seem to make sense. There must be some sort of catch. But there really is no catch. You've got just an army of great lawyers out there who aren't totally driven by the bottom line. They're driven by a desire to solve problems for average middle-class people. So I think the attorneys general being involved helps show people that it's a legitimate operation. It gives credibility to the organization, and they know that we wouldn't be involved unless we believed in what Prepaid was doing and that it was a good company.
We do provide a sounding board to try out new ideas that officers in the company may have, and we react to them and make recommendations as to how those particular issues ought to be handled.
The revolutionary practice of joining customer service with the practice of law was not developed overnight, and it's something that is not taught in law school. But how do you persuade a lawyer to provide service, advice, or even lift a finger for a fee the average person can afford? It's not easy. It also takes time. Mike Turpin is a provider lawyer for Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated. I asked Mike and other lawyers in the prepaid legal system to help us understand how someone accesses the service, and more importantly, to answer the question of why they are willing to provide top-notch service to a person who may only pay as little as $26 a month.
The network of provider attorneys across North America are the best law firms available anytime, anywhere for anybody. I'm very proud of the network of provider attorneys that we've put together for Prepaid Legal. My own law firm, I believe it's the best law firm in the state of Oklahoma, and I think all the provider attorneys feel that way about their state and their provinces, that they're the best law firm in their state, in their province. They're quality-conscious, service-oriented law firms. They're user-friendly. They're law firms that have learned to call the member back, help the member with preventive law, help them stay out of trouble before they ever get into trouble. The idea of Prepaid Legal Services making our kinds of law firms, I think very unique and good law firms, available to all the people across this country at a very reasonable rate per month, is the best thing that's happened to the delivery of legal services, both criminal and civil, in the history of the justice system.
The thing I like most about being a provider attorney is helping people. When I became a lawyer, my ambition was to be in a field where I would help people.